Wasting money on cures. Forgot how to fix myself. They say that time is free. Then why is it so precious? Oh, I'll say memories in my head, like Polaroids on walls. They remind you to look ahead. Time is running out. Time is running out. Lately I've lost my track. I've sailed the deeper seas, hoping to find something to bring back better times. Oh, I'll say memories in my head, like Polaroids on walls. They remind you to look ahead. But time is running out. 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 Time is running. Time is running out. But time is running out. What if my best days are over? They can't be over. They can't be over now. Time is running out. What if my best days are over? They can't be over now. Time is running out. Time is running out. Time is running out.
Okay, hi everybody, welcome back to the latest in our daily revision series. Today we're going to be focusing on the balance of payments. So those of you wanting a bit of revision on international economics, you've hit the right place on the dial. And yesterday we took a break. I was up in Newcastle giving a talk on the UK economy, and that was great fun. And so I'm back today. Tomorrow we're going to do Monopoly, and then on Friday a special session on how to use elasticities of demand and supply in different micro and macro topics. So hopefully that'll be a useful micro session. So welcome to everybody who's joining us live today. Subscribe to the channel, please, so you can contribute to the live chat and join this amazing group of students who are preparing so well for their exams. And welcome in particular to any Harrogate Town fans. What a club, what a massive club they are. We might miss out on the playoffs this year, but it's all about making memories, isn't it? Those of you joining, by the way, Liam is a Town fan. And George is joining us and says, good morning, Geoff. I'm joining from my free period. That's fantastic. TGM says, hi, Geoff. I'm watching during my lesson, which is great fun. Jamie says, fresh haircut. Yeah, indeed, I did have a haircut. I do have my own hairdresser, and charges me £5 plus a £150 search fee. Let's start our... now, this is hard. By the way, I've got some hard questions today. I'm not going to mess about. Freddie says, hi, Geoff. I'm missing a lesson to miss these. Okay. Doesn't quite make sense, Freddie, but we'll get there in the end. Here we go. So 5 clues. Which economy am I talking about? Does anybody want to have a go straight away in the chat window? What do we think? Now, I thought I'd give you a clue first then. Okay, so here's the first clue. This country is the 5th largest economy in the European Union. Now, we measure that by GDP, but we make a PPP adjustment. And George comes in straight away with San Marino, which George isn't quite right. It's close, but I think you probably need to add a north. And anyway, San Marino is not a country; it's a principality. A couple of people saying Italy. Well, we'll see if they're right. See if you're right in a minute. It's one of the few countries in the world to avoid a recession post-global financial crisis. In fact, only 3 developed countries avoided a recession, and they were this country, plus South Korea and Australia. So can you think of a European Union country that avoided recession during the aftermath of the global financial crisis? By the way, I've got a new AI program called Geoff GTP, which will pick out the first correct answer. So you don't have to worry about being first. We will find you. Third clue coming up. They have a floating exchange rate, which is rather nice. They have a floating exchange rate. And that means that they are not part of the single currency. Although the euro has a floating exchange rate, so maybe that's wrong. Poppadom45 says, can you shout out my friend Aaron Broadley, as is a huge fan of your streams? Well, thank you, Aaron. Shout out to you. Elliot says, is it Turkey? It might well be Turkey, Elliot, but for the fact that Turkey is not part of the European Union, although it is part of the single customs union. And the final clue, the fourth clue, for many years this country has experienced net outward migration. We do have some correct answers coming through, but our AI is going to pick the first one and then we showcase it. Their currency is the zloty. So what do we think? Quite a few answers have come through, and TGM and Veronica, Liam, the big Harrogate Town fan is Liam, massive club. Let's see, it was Kirsty. Kirsty, we think, was the first correct answer. And if you think that Kirsty was not the first correct answer, please complain direct to the production team in the office next door. Max says, my friend loves all your content and is always watching you. Please give him a shout out. It's his birthday today, so happy birthday, Will. Happy 10th birthday. The Stat Bandit says, Poland. Wouldn't have guessed it. Well, some people did. Kirsty guessed it and guessed it correctly. Okay, here we go. Let's move on to, if it's okay with you, 2 or 3 minutes, just very quickly go through the balance of payments accounts. So well done, Kirsty. We'll take your answer away from the screen. Keep in mind, this is super important. So let me just work through with you balance of payments just for revision. I'm hoping nobody's going to put in the chat window, what is the balance of payments? Well, the answer is 0 for most countries. So last year in year 12, you probably looked at the current account. Current account is trading goods and services. So it's the value of exports minus the value of imports. And you also include primary income. That's interest, profits and dividends from overseas investments. So I have external assets that I might get some dividends. It also includes secondary income, including government transfers, including aid payments, including debt relief. So I look at the current account as basically asking this question. Can the country pay its way internationally in terms of the trade it generates and alongside the income and other transfers from their investments? So the current account is basically a kind of can you pay your way internationally account, okay? Whereas the next bit, and this is what you need to know for A level, so year 13 macroeconomics, EdXL, of course we teach in both years. So we can ignore, by the way, the capital account, which is the tiny part of the balance of payments. So it's basically the current account and financial account. So whereas current account is trading goods and services and income flows and transfers, including remittances, the financial account is made up of capital flows, and there are 3 main capital flows. Direct investment, FDI coming in or going out, that will count as the financial account. The Snack Bandit is saying, what about net errors and emissions? Don't worry, I won't omit net errors and emissions. So direct investment is your FDI. Portfolio investment is things like buying and selling of bonds and equities. So if you're based in the UK, you've decided to buy some, Trump social shares, A, Y, and B, well, it counts as a financial account. And banking flows, of course, hot money. So the financial account is those flows of direct investment, FDI, portfolio flows, basically bonds and equities. You see, for example, overseas investors might buy UK government bonds. That will be on the financial account. And also banking flows, hot money, looking for the best, highest relative return, the interest rate. Okay. So current account, financial account. but then you add on at the end the adjustment for errors and omissions, which is the balancing item, so fraudulent activities, and changes in official reserves of gold and foreign currency. Now, those two bits at the end are used to balance the payments up, because the balance payments is always zero. The UK balance payments last year was zero. The year before happened to be zero. And this year, probably going to be zero. So all balances balance. The question is, how do the two parts relate to each other? Okay. So here's a nice, quick, easy way of thinking about the balance payments for any country. Number one, if you're running a current account deficit, okay, so it might be you're running a trade deficit, or you're losing profits and interest and dividends from foreign investments. If you're running a current account deficit, you need to run a financial account surplus. So if you've got a negative on the current account, you need to have a positive on the net flows. It could be hot money, it could be overseas investors of bonds, it could be FDI, okay? Or if that doesn't happen, the IMF reduce your reserves, your FX reserves are adjusted down to balance the payments up. And eventually countries that are running a current account deficit and running a financial account deficit, maybe experiencing capital flight, they run out of foreign exchange. Whereas if you're running a current account surplus, a good example would be Norway, they can run a financial account deficit. So they've got huge export money coming in and incomes from overseas coming in. That allows Norwegians essentially to invest overseas. They'll have surplus foreign currency in dollars or yuan or yen, and they can invest overseas. So just very quickly, if you're running a current account deficit, you need to attract financial inflows to balance the payments. If you're running a current account surplus, you can lend money. You become an overseas creditor country as opposed to an overseas debtor. For Stat Bandit, one of our great contributors, talks about net portfolio investment inwards can lead to repatriation of profits back to overseas investments. Indeed, so you can attract portfolio investment into a country, financial inflow. US investors might be buying UK government debt, but the interest on that debt flows back out of the UK over to the States. So the balance of payments is essentially a huge account, billions and billions of dollars every single day, trade, income and investment. Trade, income and investment. Okay, hopefully that explains it. Let's test your understanding for some multiple choice questions. I think I've got 4 questions for you. Okay, foreign government pays a UK university, I'm not going to tell you which one by the way, to educate its students. So how would this be recorded on the balance of payments current account? So a foreign government, this is a multiple choice question by the way, past question from 2022, pays a UK university, unnamed UK university, to educate its students. How would this be recorded on the balance of payments? What do we think? So some good answers coming through. All of the answers so far are either A, B, C or D, which is rather good. By the way, it's current account of the UK. George says Cambridge C. Well, normally the predicted grades are higher than that, George. Yeah, and here's the answer coming in. It is indeed the trading services, and it is an inflow for the UK. Okay, and that's it. UK universities are net contributors to the UK trade account. Hundreds of thousands of students, both university students, sixth form students, PhDs, MPhils. The idea that the UK university sector is a net outflow is a major contributor. Good start. Next question. Trading services is a component of the current account of the balance of payments. What is an example of a trade in services? So you have 4 examples there. So which of those would appear as a trade in services in the current account of the balance of payments? What do we think? And straight away, a few people saying D. Now that would be on the primary income, so it wouldn't be a service account. Yep, Liam, fan of the biggest club in world football, has got it right. Harrison and Max, Bobodom's cracked it. Josh has got it right. Here it is, income from foreign tourists. NXL students, by the way, tourism as a development strategy, well worth revising. The extent to which travel and tourism, is a positive for a country's trade balance and the wider micro and macroeconomic effects. Just a thought. Question number 3. Now, I'm not gonna say the name of the theory here, but maybe in the answer you can give the multiple choice answer and the relevant bit of theory. So, following the devaluation of this country's currency, under which combination of elasticities would the country's current account worsen? Team Economics, can you think of the right answer and also the relevant theory? And we'll showcase the first using Geoff GTP. We'll pick out the first. I think Archer has got it. Well done. The correct answer is indeed A, and it's because the combined elasticities are less than 1. Do the maths rightly, 0.6. If you add those two elasticities, 0.6 is less than 1. Millie says Marshall Lerner A. Archer was in a bit quicker, but Jack was in there as well. Don't forget to spell Marshall Lerner correctly, everybody. I know there's quite a few typos, but Marshall Lerner. And George comes in with the Marshall Lerner formula. It's when you add together the elasticity of demand for imports and exports. And if it's less than 1, a devaluation worsens the trade balance. And everybody then piles in with a J-curve diagram. DDI, please can you give a shout out, a long-term subscriber, Simon Murphy, is also CEO of Battersea Power Station. Wow. Wow, amazing. She's become a kind of retail environment, hasn't it, really? Now, here's the last question. The data in the table is extracted from the Singapore balance of payments for 2019. Okay, Singapore. What was the value in dollars, millions of dollars, of the trade balance on the current account in 2019? What do we think here? So you got some data on the Singaporean or Singaporese, is that right? Singapore balance of payments. What's the value of the trade balance for Singapore in 2019? And the answers are coming through. And well done, Siani, Alison, Lucas, who was here a couple of hours before the stream started, Martin and George and Jack, and the Shrimp, maybe a Morecambe fan. The correct answer is it's B, because the only two items on the trade balance would be goods and services. The capital and financial account, that's on the other side, and the balancing item is not part of trade. It's not part of the current account. So ignore the final two items. Singapore has a big trade surplus, and both in goods and in services. Well done, everybody. Okay, let's crack on. Now, this is hard. We did these a week or so ago, didn't we? And I gave you some countries. We're going to play Tradle for a few minutes. And people complained on social media. I read the messages. I read them, and they said, look, these are too easy. So I've chosen, I was on the train coming back from Newcastle yesterday. I thought I'm going to choose 4 countries. I'm going to give you the trade patterns of 4 countries. These are hard, right? So everybody gets 4 out of 4. It's unbelievable. Okay. The Shrimp says, I'm actually a Southampton fan, Geoff. I just love shrimps. That's nice. Here we go. So the first country. Now, take a moment. Let's see who can get. We'll give a shout out to the people who get the right answer first. If you get the right answer, and anybody gets 4 out of 4 is on a different level. So first country, highly export dependent in terms of raw tobacco and raw sugar, and tea and nuts. Export mainly to other African countries. UAE, a fifth of exports go to the UAE. Belgium, the European Union. What do we think here? So Archer thinks it's Cuba. Topher says it has to be Cuba. Barker Lama says it's Cuba. George says it's Cuba. But it's not Cuba. And I said it was going to be hard, okay? You think I'm just going to give you a nice easy one, okay? Pop It Up says, could you give a shout out to my friend Leo Gardner, as he isn't listening to you, and hopefully the shout out will help keep him focused. Well, anything that keeps the student focused is good news. We have some right answers, so well done if you got the right answer there. Did we manage to using Geoff GPT to find the right answer? It is indeed Malawi, one of the poorest countries on the planet. Well done to Harrison, and I think a couple of others who got the right answer. So Malawi, interesting country. Jim says 10 was definitely the quickest in there. Right, let's go. Number 2. This is harder. I'm trying to remember which country. Oh yeah, okay, I know which country it is. Okay, so coal, big exporter of coal and palm oil. Gokyo H2, Geoff, I love your voice. I use your videos to go to sleep at night. So soothing. That's very kind. What do we think here? Coal, palm oil, ferroalloys, stearic acid. What do we think? We do have, oh, you've got it very, very quick. Fergus says it looks like Laos to me. Not to me, it doesn't, Freddie, but a good effort. What do we think? We've got the right answer. It is indeed Indonesia. Right, 2 out of 2. 2 out of 2. Now, the next two are hard, okay? This country, mainly, this is just goods, of course. We don't include services in this kind of analysis. Okay, so what have we got here? Raw aluminium, fish fillets. So aluminium and fillets and fish oils. What do we think? Kirsty thinks it's Norway. You're not far off. Big exporter to the European Union, clearly, as you can see. So most trade is with the European Union. We do have the right answer, and I believe the right answer came in from George and Jack, I think, were the two quickest ones, but Geoff GTP will find out. Yeah, it is indeed Iceland. Now, is Iceland worth revising for the exams? I think the answer is yes. How did they cope, for example, with the financial crisis? They allowed banks to fail. And of course, Iceland is outside the European Union. It's part of the European Economic Area, but it is thinking of joining the European single market and may well join the European Union at some point. So highly dependent on the European Union. Really good stuff. Wow. One more. What do we think here? Copper ore, refined copper, carbonates, fish fillets, pitted fruits, bit of wine in there as well. Mainly exporting to China, to the United States, Japan, South Korea, and Brazil. What are we going for? Jack says that he was first in the last one. Geoff GPT is bad. Well, don't rely on AI. That's the key point, Jack, the evaluation point. The Beartooth man says, can he shout out Mrs. Parr, who's letting us watch this in class, please? That's very kind. So shout out to Mrs. Parr. Okay, here we go. And what do we think? Have we got the right answer yet? We do have the right answer. And I believe the right answer came from the first person who gave the right answer. It is indeed Chile. Great example of a country. Oh, sorry, Chile or Chile? Can you post in chat, please? Chile or Chile? Tom says Chile. Okay, so it's Chile. Really good example of that. Free market approach to economics. Fascinating country. Is it too dependent on copper, wine, etc.? Wow.